Hello and welcome to Sports Talk in the Burgh. My name is Alexis Davis and I'll be your host. Tonight, Ethan Morrison, Colby Shuren, and John Hanna will be joining me to talk all things sports. Kicking it off with some football, Dak Prescott received a record deal to return to the Cowboys a day before the franchise tag deadline with a 4-year, $160 million contract with the money moved around in multiple different ways. Ethan, does Dak deserve this deal and what does this say about the current state of the NFL?
Well, I don't know what to feel about this. I mean, Dak, yeah, he's an effective quarterback.
He's average at best.
He's shown, okay, but he's still effective. Okay, 66% completion rating.
He gets the job done, but so
okay, 66% completion rating. He's thrown for over 17,500 yards. He's effective. Does he deserve this? No, he doesn't deserve this.
No, 4 years, $160 million is way too much.
Yes.
And I think, this is a problem with the QB market in general. I mean, there is no reason Patrick Mahomes needs to get paid almost $500 million to play quarterback.
That's going to make the Chiefs horrible. They won't be able to afford any other player. And if you look at it, if you go back to 2012 through 2020, most Super Bowl winning quarterbacks were on the rookie deal. What this shows is if you're going to build a championship NFL team, you need to build around a rookie or cheap quarterback because if you can't.
You know where this market is going through the roof.
Oh, yeah, guys like
None
Lamar,
of these guys,
Josh
Lamar,
Allen,
Baker Mayfield,
Kyler,
they don't deserve any of this.
Ransoms.
Oh yeah, I don't think nobody deserves. Like these young quarterbacks. Yes, they're good. They've shown that they could compete. They showed that they can play well. But do they deserve this much money? No, especially with Dak. Especially where he's at in his career right now. Especially coming off of that injury.
Who knows if he's going to be the same quarterback?
And he threw 4 interceptions out of his first 5 games of the 2020 season. So he wasn't even playing up to the standards.
Even when he does rush, he's also turnover prone. He has 34 fumbles on only 259 rushes. 40 picks over his career. It's interesting, but he's way overpaid for what he brings to the field.
Moving on to other NFL news, the franchise tag deadline came and went for the Steelers with no player being slapped with a tag. Colby, which free agent is most valuable for the Steelers to retain?
We'll start out with one person they shouldn't have retained was Ben Roethlisberger. He's kind of overpaid and overrated, but I'll continue.
I agree.
I can't argue with that.
Hey, but he did take the cut. He took the cut.
I guess you can say that.
He should have been cut.
He should have been cut. But my free agent or person they should have franchise tagged or have to keep is Mike Hilton. In the 12 games he played, he started 6 of them. He had 1 forced fumble, 8 tackles for losses. And when we saw him out of the lineup, we saw the Steelers defense kind of struggling, not able to really cover well. That also has to do with Joe Hayden not being in the lineup.
Well, see, you're in the backfield, or you're in the defensive backfield. I'm there too with Cam Sutton. 3 forced fumbles. Obviously didn't play that much, but he was all around the field. He played outside in the slot. He played dime linebacker. He even subbed in at free safety at points. And, he's relatively cheap for what he's going to bring to the field. Spot Trek, 3 years, $7.2 million. I think Mike Hilton's somewhere around $9 million. So Steelers with their salary cap issues, it's going to be interesting to see who they decide to keep and not keep. But, Ben should have been gone. And I think also
I feel like the guy that we're missing here is Bud Dupree.
Can they afford Bud Dupree?
Yeah, Bud Dupree's going to want a King's ransom.
I still think they can keep him.
If he takes
Bud's struggling with cap, but I still think they're able to keep him.
Notable
here's what you're losing. Here's what you're losing here.
The play in 2017. Alex Highsmith is serviceable.
He needs
to
run
very well.
He's a rookie. He's a rookie.
He's still a rookie, which gives him time to develop.
You saw this defense. They struggled without Dupree and Watt. They need Dupree on this team.
Watt played the whole season.
Yeah, but still, having that 1-2 punch, having 2 of those guys off the edge
is gonna be that 1-2 punch. You just
are you sure? He needs time. He needs more time to develop. That's why you still need to keep Bud Dupree.
Moving on to hockey, the Penguins are 10-4 since Ron Hextall and Brian Burke were officially added to the Penguins front office on February 9th. Does this good stretch make you think differently about the team's chances? And what should the front office do, John?
Well, thankfully for the Penguins, they're in a terrible division. I mean, they have Buffalo, New Jersey, and the Rangers. And, I think they should not trade futures. Obviously, they don't have the first this year for the Galchenyuk trade. But top 4 teams in each division make it. Penguins currently sit 3rd in the East. They're currently 5 points behind the Islanders. And, Philadelphia's close. But I think, if they make a couple trades at deadline, nothing too crazy, bring in some solid depth pieces, I think they'll be fine for the playoffs.
I think if you look at it, the Penguins, to me, still, my opinion doesn't change. They can still make the playoffs. They can still compete with Washington, but I still don't think they're going to be Boston, New York, the Islanders. I think they're just going to have to make the playoffs this year. They don't have their first-round pick this year.
I feel like they still can compete.
They're still going to.
They're still there.
They're still
I
gonna
think they
compete,
need.
but
I think they need a
can't give up
defenseman.
future.
Cody
They
Ceci and
cannot.
Mike Matheson are just not it. They've
Matheson's
struggled all year.
improving, though.
They've had like They've had 4 points the entire season. They've both struggled. I think you need a guy on the defensive end or on the defensive side that can really.
Ceci and Matheson have improved coming to Pittsburgh. Ceci
A
was a
little
traffic
bit.
cone in Toronto.
A little bit, but you need that
Ceci's
one.
still a
They're
pretty
still
bad
they're still
defenseman.
both
very
liabilities.
bad.
They're still both
Matheson has actually
liabilities.
been playing some of the best hockey of his career, if you've seen.
Thankfully,
He's
they
really
improved on Jack Johnson, but
Jack
you know,
Johnson.
you could probably be a better defenseman than Jack Johnson was.
That is fair.
I have to agree with Ethan on that one. I think if the Penguins can improve their defense, they have a really good chance to be a strong playoff contender. And now in the NBA, despite outcries from concerned players, the NBA All-Star Game took place with Team LeBron dominating and earning over $1 million for their selected charity. Who are you most excited about seeing ball out in the All-Star Game, Ethan?
Well, it's Steph Curry. He played really well. He had 22 points in 28 minutes. He's able to hit the three. He was able to hit the three ball. You know, I like a good guy that can pull up for like half court and put up a nice three from the logo.
cares
Hold
about
on, hold on.
Yes,
The All-Star
John,
Game
John,
can add
I know,
entertainment.
I know.
Have you,
Nobody
the All-Star
cares
Game
about
adds
the
entertainment.
All-Star Game.
I'll go
John,
with you. Damian
John,
Lillard.
I know.
Record low,
but still.
5.9.
That's because the NBA didn't market. I didn't even know this game was happening.
All All-Star games are feeling this pain, though.
This
The
game
MLB
was not marketed
viewership
at all.
is halved. The NHL's been declining for 3 consecutive years. In the game, as you mentioned, it was essentially, chuck up threes and hope.
Yep.
Well,
No one
speaking
likes
of
to watch
threes,
that.
my person I really was excited to watch is Damian Lillard. I think he's one of the most underrated guards in the NBA. He can shoot almost anywhere like Steph Curry. He passes very well. He has 24.4 points a game and 6.6 assists a game. Him and Steph Curry were shooting from half court all game. That's what I come to watch in the NBA.
I still like to
Only
see those
people
crazy
who won
shots.
and that watched the All-Star game were the charities that got the $1 million given to them.
when
no
I
one
think of an
else
M-
won.
Look, I still like to see guys just put up amazing shots, crazy dunks.
I think
I
they
still
need
like
to-
that
yeah,
aspect of it.
That's what I
Make it
watch the NBA All-Star Game for. Is
Make it an
three-point.
outdoor 3-on-3. That's what the NHL did with their All-Star game, and that looks a lot better than this NBA
I do think if they do
All-Star.
like a horse outside event, that would be way more fun. Like Team Durant versus Team LeBron would be insane.
At halftime of the All-Star Game, we saw the dunk contest between Cassius Stanley, Obi Toppin, and eventual winner Anthony Simmons. Was this the worst dunk contest of all time, and who would you like to see in the contest next year? Let's hear from Colby first.
I have to say, this is the worst dunk contest I've ever had the displeasure of watching. We are far from 2016, where that was the best dunk contest you could ever watch. But if I'm going to say someone who I'd like to watch, if they bring this back, it'd have to be Zion Williamson. Some of the dunks he started down in New Orleans in his young career, or Duke, it's just been amazing to see. You saw his high school tapes. Those were incredible. So if they're going to bring somebody in, it's got to be Zion.
Colby, just get rid of it. Get rid of it. They don't need it. Nobody needs it. Look at the judging. Absolutely
the
terrible.
judging was
Absolutely
horrible.
terrible.
It was
Last
2020
year,
or 20
for last year.
Anthony
Aaron
Simmons,
Gordon.
yes.
He missed
Aaron
terrible.
Gordon got robbed last year.
Terrible. Aaron Gordon dunked over Taco Fall. That's my first point. My second point. Whoever won, Simmons? What did he?
I've never
Did he
heard
kiss
of
the
him.
rim? He kissed the rim. He missed. He missed the rim, and they still gave him what, a 50? This is absolutely ridiculous. If you're gonna do it right. Get guys. Nobody else is gonna. None of these big dunkers. They don't want to compete in this because you know
That's
what?
why
You
need
need stupid.
You
Nate
need Nate
Robinson.
Robinson. Bring Nate Robinson back.
Bring the classic back. I
LeBron
don't
has
care.
never
You
been
need-
in
you
a
need
dunk
to
contest.
inject-
That's like a serious issue.
I
LeBron is
think
one of the
dunk
goats.
contests, they need to, up the stakes. Put a briefcase full of $50,000 at midcourt. Whoever wins gets to run away with that briefcase. Who cares?
In the MLB, Ke'Bryan Hayes continues to crush the baseball in spring training for the Pirates after making a strong first impression in a limited sample size in 2020. With Arenado now in the division, John, which baseman would you rather have for the next 5 years?
Well, I think Ke'Bryan Hayes is going to be a good third baseman, but Nolan Arenado, he's already there. He's 29 years old. He'll be 34 in 5 years. But I think,
Come on,
I think
John.
his
John.
Nolan Arenado at this rate, 5 years, he'll be 34 years
Exactly.
old.
Come on,
And
John.
I still think he'll be
He's gonna be
serviceable.
old. He's
Look,
gonna
may be
Brian
serviceable,
Hayes
but
will
Brian Hayes will be
John,
in his
we
prime.
haven't seen Johnny. We haven't seen this guy hit outside of Coors Field.
His hitting numbers may dip a bit, but
May
he's not
dip
going
a
to be
bit.
bad.
Sure,
He
he's
hits
still going to be.
outside of
He's
Coors
still
Field
gonna,
81
okay,
games a
he's still
season.
going to be. Look, don't get me wrong. He's still going to be a good hitter. I just feel like if you're going to look at the next 5 years, you're going to see Brian Hayes. Look, 95 plate appearances. That's a good sample size.
Yes,
he had
it's a good
376.
sample size, but
Sure.
it's also a small sample size. It's good, but small sample size. Brian Hayes could fall off a cliff. He could.
He could.
You know,
I
he could
still-
stagnate.
but
Look,
Arenado
He's the
could
number
do the
9
exact same
prospect.
thing.
He's the number 9 prospect
We've seen
in Major League
before.
Baseball. He's still consistent. You saw him last year,
I think
376.
you're right with
And look,
Brian
I
Hayes,
think
but if
it's
you
my
think-
training numbers
we
are
have no
backed
idea
up.
if Arenado's
He's
going to
hitting
be in 5
500
now.
Arenado's solid on the field as well.
I think
Look.
if you look at it, Brian Hayes will continue to hit his prime in 5 years, but with Nolan Arenado, he might be out of his prime altogether and might be an all-out liability on the field in 5 years. We have no idea what either of these guys will be. I'd rather have the young prospect than a guy who's going to be 34.
There has been a lot going on this week in sports with the NBA All-Star Game and MLB Spring Training. Ethan, who would you name as your pro athlete of the week?
Here we go. We're going right back to it. Brian Hayes. Look. I know.
Come on.
Keep
It's
the look.
spring training.
Keep the look to yourself. I know. It's spring training.
Spring training.
He's gotten
That's
it.
going
He's
nuts.
gotten it.
I hate
in
his hat.
every
His
spring
hat
training
is
game
the stupidest
this
thing ever.
season.
But Bryson
Look.
DeChambeau, he won the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill. He had a 377-yard drive.
Hold on.
Let me
Mine is a
speak.
heartwarming story, guys. Jalen Brown in
Cool,
2015.
heartwarming.
It's an all-star
Doesn't
game.
make him a good
Jalen
athlete.
It's an
He
all-star
dropped
game.
22 points in the All-Star
Oh,
game.
the All-Star game. The All-Star game
In
should be dead,
2015,
Colby.
Jalen Brown's teacher
With the
tweeted,
defense they
hold
had,
on.
I could drop
In 2015,
22 points in
Jalen
the
Brown
All-Star
tweeted,
game.
my teacher said she will look me up in Cobb County Jail in 5 years. Wow. 6 years later, in Fulton County, which is the next county over to Cobb, he made the All-Star game and dropped 22 points. That is insane. I don't care about a dumb hat or spring training. That is what sports is all
All-Star
about.
game, Colby. All-Star game.
Spring training!
All-Star game.
What are you talking about? All-Star
Okay,
game.
hey,
All-Star
hey,
game. There's no
two-
defense in the
two for
All-Star
two
game.
There's no defense in
yesterday.
any
2 for
spring
2
training game.
yesterday.
There's no defense in any MLB game, let's be honest.
And then another
No.
hit the day before.
After the break, we'll talk all things college sports. Stay with us on Sports Talk in the Burgh.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Wacha. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Jason, let's go see your room.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
Welcome back to Sports Talk in the Burgh. RMU Women's Hockey won the CHA Championship on Saturday and will face Northeastern on Monday, March 15th. What do you make of the Colonial season, and do they have a chance against the top seed? Colby, you can start us off.
Well, I don't think they're going to win, but because it's hockey and it's March,
It's one game, which
it's
is
one game, winner take all. We've seen this all the time. I think they could win,
but it's going to be
it's going to be tough.
It's a tough hill to climb.
But with Reagan Kirk in net, I think they got a shot. But it's going to be a tough one.
This Northeastern team, 20-game winning streak, #1 team in the country. Their only loss this entire season was to Boston College 2-1. They lead the nation in winning percentage, shutouts, goals, scoring margin, and first in power play goals. This is a very tough task for the Colonials.
And they rolled right through their conference tournament, beating New Hampshire 7-0, UConn 2-1, and then Providence 6-2. I mean, they're in a great spot right now. I mean, yes, it's going to be tough for Robert Morris to compete in this game. They're the lowest seed. Northeastern's the highest, but like you guys both said, anything can happen in college in the playoffs.
I just think if they get Northeastern to play their style of game of low scoring, grind it out,
I think
they could definitely pull this out.
I think 10 games, RMU might win 1.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if this
may be the one out of the 10. Yeah.
Especially this season. They didn't play any out of conference games, so they're not used to this top tier flight. They're used to CHA teams.
Yeah, I agree. I think this talented women's team might have what it takes to beat Northeastern. Moving on to other RMU hockey news, RMU men's hockey enters the AHA tournament this week. John, will the team win the championship like women's hockey, and if not, who will take them down?
I think they will. I think this men's hockey team, obviously they've only played against half Atlantic hockey so far this season, but I think they will win. Toughest competition, as you see, Colby, is AIC. But they haven't played since January 30th, which, you can play scrimmages in practice. That is not the same as playing against other teams.
I think they'll definitely run through and get to the championship with these, but they rely heavily on underclassmen, and that eventually
they're getting Jordan Timmons back as well. The UConn transfer.
They're still getting Jordan Timmons back. Yes, he's been out with an injury, but still,
that is also going to run out. He's injured. We don't know what his stamina's like. If that runs out.
I think we've seen the whole season, though. They've been able to compete with teams.
That's fine competing, but can they win?
I think so. I think so, yes.
In what, a best-of-3 series? I think they win it.
But I think they're going to have a challenge.
Noah West is a very solid, he's only a freshman, very solid netminder. I think, he's going to play lights out. Randy Hernandez has been lights out on the offense. Nick Perkusic, Jordan Timmons, you mentioned, comes back. I think this team has.
I think they have a great chance at getting to the championship. It's winning it that I just don't know
if they're even going to make
it.
Well,
you can say IAC. You can say a lot of teams. I don't know if they can have the firepower and the stamina to continue to win and win the tournament. That's my main concern. Is do they have enough in the gas tank?
Moving on to basketball, the pre-March Madness rush has begun with conference tournaments currently taking place and Selection Sunday this weekend. Ethan, who is your favorite team in the bubble you can plead your case most strongly for?
Yes, it has to be VCU. They are on their way to the A10 championship game. Yes, John.
Are they a bubble?
Look, yes, they are.
They are a bubble team. They're going to get in. They're going to be either the 10 or 11 seeds. They're playing Bonaventure. Bonaventure's a good team.
Yes.
If they win, they get the auto bid. Bonaventure comes in. If Bonaventure wins, VCU still goes in at a 10 or 11 seed. I'm going with the Drake Bulldogs. Lost to Loyola Chicago in Arch Madness.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I just don't know about that.
Losing to Loyola twice, though.
That's going to be tough.
They also beat Loyola.
Now my main one is Syracuse. You see I have two here, but that was because Syracuse was playing today. And if they lost to NC State, I wasn't going to take them. But Syracuse did.
See, the problem is
they take on Virginia. Who's going to
Drake? How has Syracuse
for 20 years has shot over this zone? I don't know how, but for 20 years, no one's figured out you can't shoot over the zone. And if Syracuse plays this zone,
how deep do you think the Syracuse team has to go in order to make it into the tournament?
At least the next round or beyond. I think they can do it.
They're playing Virginia the next round.
They could beat Virginia. Virginia shoots like crazy. You don't shoot to beat a zone. Look, Syracuse plays a 3-2 zone. The one thing that nobody figures out is you cannot shoot to beat a zone.
So what? They're going to win the ACC championship?
That's not what I said. That is not what I said.
They're going to have to get through Virginia, though.
Okay,
so are they going to get through Virginia?
It's March Madness. Anything can happen.
Look, John's
you say it all the time. It's March.
Team, Drake. I don't know. Look, they lost to Loyola twice. Yes, they dealt with COVID.
They also beat Loyola.
Drake.
They beat Loyola once. And you know what? That was in overtime.
They still beat them. A win is a win.
Yeah, come on, man.
Despite their season ending last week, RMU basketball is still in the news. Tyler Gallo was at the UPMC Event Center earlier today to give us some more details.
Thanks, Alexis. I'm here at the UPMC Event Center, home of both basketball teams, and with women's basketball sophomore forward Trinity Papamancharis entering into the transfer portal yesterday, and men's basketball guard Cameron Wilbon entering into it today. Do you guys think that there's a transfer problem here at RMU, sort of a mini JUCO for student athletes, or do you think that the writing was on the wall for these transfers during the regular season? Ethan, what are your thoughts?
Gallo, I like the stranded shirt, Gallo. But look. It's not a JUCO. No, not whatsoever. Look, Isabella Posset, transferred NEC school, St. Francis Brooklyn. Riley Arrigo, California University, Division II school. Now look, Riley Arrigo, she was a walk-on to the program. She wasn't even supposed to play here. She was a walk-on into the program in August. So really, her leaving, I don't really think it's a JUCO. And then we see.
I don't think it's an RMU problem. I think it's an NCAA problem. Obviously, I don't have the numbers that far back, but 2014-15, nearly a tenth of all women's basketball players transferred. I don't think this is really much of a RMU problem. It's an NCAA problem.
Is it that big of an issue? You can get you can get people in this program who are good enough to go to bigger schools.
I think the problem
is to get them to buy into your system.
The coaching,
if you can get them to buy
not
in.
the problem is the coaching, but these coaches, they're using valuable recruits on players that leave within 1 to 2 years, which those
you have to recruit better. If you're having people leave to 1 to 2 years, that's on you for recruiting poorly.
Colby,
you have to find people who want to stay and play here.
Come on now. Andy Toole. Let's look at the men's side here.
They have a transfer problem.
He's been dealing with this for years. Look, we have guys like Deshaun Burke.
That's not good that people are leaving. AJ Brahma, you don't want AJ Brahma to leave your program.
He's still okay. You think the AJ Brahma?
I'm not saying that it's his fault. I'm just saying you don't want Brahma gone.
But look, it's not a coach's problem. It's people. They need to. Look. You got guys. It's just like you just gotta have.
Moving on from basketball, the RMU football team put up a strong fight with James Madison last weekend as the Colonials were tied with the FCS's number 2 in the nation at halftime. Does this boost your confidence in the program moving into the Big South?
I think it does, honestly. I had no expectations for this team.
And there are some issues still, but I definitely think they've, after that 73-7 loss to JMU a couple of years ago, I definitely think they've shown lots of improvements under Bernard Clark.
I think their main issue is size, and that might be where they recruit. One of their main pipelines is the Whitfield. That's not going to get you wins anywhere. That's a horrible place to recruit.
They still got guys that were transferred in from JUCO.
Jerry Hanks made a great catch in that win.
They got a guy from Rutgers as well. So Bernard Clark is doing a great job building around that culture. Like Colby said, I had no expectation for this team, especially how James Madison beat Morehead State a week earlier.
And how they handled Robert Morris last.
So yes.
Yeah, and I definitely think though that they need to get bigger. Elijah Jackson, he had 49 yards on 25 carries.
They also are small on defensive end as well. The defensive line is very small.
I still think the defense did play well.
They did play well.
3 interceptions. 3 interceptions.
They have to get bigger. That's going to be an issue, not stopping the run if they're small.
With all that has happened this week in college sports, who would you name as your NCAA Athlete of the Week? John, you can go first.
I'm staying right here in Moon Township. Well, technically Erie, but Maggie Burbage. They were in the CHA championship, as we mentioned earlier. She was named the CHA tournament MVP. 3 goals, 1 assist, scored twice in the 4-0 win in the opening round against RIT. She had the OT winner, 3-2 win against Mercers in the second round. And she had an assist on Jillian Thompson's lone goal in the championship game against Syracuse. I think she was a clutch player for RMU, and I think she is our NCAA Athlete of the Week.
My Athlete of the Week is Tremont Mark. He dropped 28 points, and he had a half-court shot against Memphis to win the game for Houston. It was an insane shot. It was, I believe, 1.2 seconds remaining on the clock at half court when he nailed this buzzer beater. It was an insane play.
Still, let's think postseason here. This is March, but look, Jalen Suggs, WCC Conference MVP, sunk a 3-pointer to put Gonzaga over BYU in the championship game. What more do you want in March basketball?
But we had a buzzer beater already. I just said
look, we had an OT winner.
Regular season.
When we come back, Ethan, Colby, and John will give their final takes. Stay with us.
My
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
What are you doing in there?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes.
Make a plan today.
Welcome back to Sports Talk in the Burgh. It's time for our panelists to give their final takes. Ethan, you can start us off.
Wow. It has now been 1 year to the day since Robert Morris defeated the St. Francis Red Flash 76-56 in the NEC Championship game. As the Colonials were celebrating their first conference title since 2015, a few days after the Colonials defeated the Red Flash, it was announced that the NCAA tournament would be canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. There was a lot of unknown during the college basketball offseason, but we finally got some good news in September when the official training schedule leading up to the start of the 2021 college basketball season was announced. With opt-outs, COVID-19 violations, COVID-19 pauses, and the transfer portal saga, we were finally able to get through the season, and now it is March. March basketball is in full swing, with top seeds dropping out in the American East Conference and the bedlam in the Horizon League quarterfinals last Tuesday. We have finally gotten a taste of what basketball was like when it was normal. Now, the long-awaited March Madness tournament will be here in less than a week, and we are. It will look a bit different this year than other years, but let me tell you, we will still see we will still see the same March Madness. I will leave you with this. In the airport of life, college basketball is the Delta Sky Club.
Wow, Ethan. In 2017, the Steelers drafted Juju Smith-Schuster with the 62nd pick in the NFL draft. He went on to have almost 1,000 yards and broke off a 97-yard touchdown on Sunday Night Football against the Detroit Lions. Since then, he has fallen off the face of the earth, only being nearly 1,000 yards once in 2018. Juju's far gone his long touchdown against Denver and Detroit, or a lovable rookie getting revenge on Montez Burfict on Monday Night Football. He's become a cancer, caring more about cheesy TikTok dances than winning games. This year was one of his worst of his careers, with just over 800 yards. Now it's time to let Juju walk. The receiving core the Steelers have is much better, and they proved it, having Juju being a no-show on the field in 2020. It's time for Juju to drive his Corvette somewhere else.
Dear Terry and Kim Pagula, when you guys first bought the Sabres back in February 2011, you stated that, quote, starting today, the Buffalo Sabres' reason for existence will be to win a Stanley Cup, unquote. And if that's indeed the case, then why has there been next to no progress made towards that goal? This team has not made the playoffs in 9 years, one behind the Florida Panthers from 2000 to 2011 and Edmonton Oilers from 2006 to 2017, which are the NHL records, and no signs of stopping that streak this year, as the Sabres currently sit at the bottom of the standings yet again at a dismal 6-14-4 record. Sabres are also 1-7-2 in their last 10 games. If the Sabres' reason for existence is to win a Stanley Cup, then why hasn't Ralph Krueger, who, by the way, was coaching soccer in England before he was hired to be the bench boss in Buffalo, still coaching this team when good coaches like Gerard Gallant, Bruce Boudreau, and Claude Julien are still available? And why is Jeff Skinner, who's 2 years removed from a 40-goal season, on the fourth line? I hope the Sabres turn around soon, because not only are they starting to wear on my patience, but the Sabres are getting me this close to losing my love of hockey altogether.
Are you serious, John? You're
A soccer coach?
Yeah, he was a coach in Edmonton during the lockout season, shortened 14-15 season. Was the coach of Southampton, now in Buffalo. It's a whole
John,
mess.
you like hockey. You're a big
I
hockey
know,
guy.
but I'm not even angry. I'm just apathetic
I think
now.
they could turn around in Buffalo, though.
All right, well, thank you for joining us this week on Sports Talk in the Burgh. For Colby Sherwin, Ethan Morrison, Alexis Davis, and Tyler Gallo, I'm John Hanna. We'll see you in 2 weeks.